What is up, my friends? We are back, and I do apologise for not being able to stream yesterday. I missed you all dearly, but I was at the behest of the internet companies, and for some reason, every single one in my area was down. It doesn't matter who your provider was, you ain't getting any internet yesterday. So today we are back, and of course, lovely to be here with you. We're going to discuss the Ballon d'Or ceremony, which is currently ongoing, but Mohamed Salah is not in attendance. Our captain is there, our manager's there, both looking very dapper indeed. So we're going to give you an update on that. We're going to look ahead to tomorrow's game against Southampton, as we are starting to see, well, the makings of what the Liverpool 11 will look like. Georgie Mamardashvili has confirmed himself that he will be in goal. We're going to talk about the front three and what James Pearce has said is likely to be the Liverpool attacking lineup. We'll give you some quotes from the manager. We'll talk a little bit about who got what in the Ballon d'Or, and lots of other bits and pieces over the course of the next 90 to 100 minutes. So yes, appreciate you all being in with me, and I missed you all dearly yesterday. I even said to my wife last night, I just doesn't feel right today, you know. I've just sat around and I haven't done my stream. I was able to put up a video, but I didn't feel whole yesterday. I didn't feel normal. Hopefully tonight being back with you all will help scratch that itch, because you wouldn't believe it. Honestly, I really do miss you feckers when I'm not on. Right, let's get stuck into some of the earlier stuff that we covered and some of the things we didn't actually cover earlier on today. So there is a report, ladies and gentlemen, from Graham Bailey and Rousing the Cop as well, that said Liverpool are monitoring the situation of Bayern Munich's Dayot Upamecano and could enter the race to sign the defender on a free contract next summer. Now, I've got to say, and get this in nice and early, no thank you. Just no thank you. I don't want Maguire at Liverpool. I don't for 1 second want them. We already have the better post-Leipzig centre-back currently in Ibrahima Konate, and this would only be a downgrade in my opinion. The situation with Mark Gay, look, that's a fair enough compromise in my opinion if Konate isn't sticking about. But for me anyway, folks, I'm going to say I don't want Upamecano at Liverpool Football Club. So if you would bear with me, that is going to be the first poll of the night that we put up. I'm going to ask you, would you be happy with the idea of Upamecano coming in? So let me get this right out. Is it bad that when I write this name on my phone, it automatically auto-corrects to Upamecano? I've written it so many times over the last couple of years that when I start writing out Uppa, it finishes with it Maguire for me and not Meccano. Don't know what that says about me, to be honest with you. So what have we got here? M-E-C-A-N. Right, so would you be happy with Upamecano as a Konate replacement? I'll let you guys work away on that one, and we will revisit it in a few minutes' time. Right, a few other bits and pieces. Oh, I want to talk about a giveaway that we're going to be doing, so bear with me for a sec. So I mentioned to you guys yesterday that we were just putting the finishing touches to a giveaway that we'll be doing. Well, we'll be launching that giveaway tomorrow during our watch-along against Southampton, where full details of exactly how you can enter will be there. But what we're going to be giving away is a signed and framed Diogo Jota Liverpool shirt. Obviously, to celebrate the great man's life, we've teamed up with our friends. Well, we don't want to tell you who exactly just yet, but do join us for that watch along tomorrow, because that is where we will be starting the giveaway for, well, that signed and framed Diogo Jota Liverpool shirt. So hope you guys are interested in it, and if you are, well, make sure that you join us tomorrow and we'll tell you how to get involved. We're going to be announcing the winner of it in the last game before the international break, so we'll be announcing the winner of it for the game against Chelsea, so make sure you're with us. Right, Ballon d'Or is football's equivalent of the Eurovision Song Contest. So look, I want to get something off my chest around the Ballon d'Or. I don't know who wins it, who doesn't win it, whether it's Dembele or Yamal, but I want to say this. Two things. Firstly, if Mohamed Salah finishes his career without a Ballon d'Or, it's a disgrace. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you he is thoroughly deserving of it this year. There are some good contenders for it. But Mohamed Salah should have had a Ballon d'Or in his career, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise. The sheer numbers the man's put up, coupled with the success he's brought back to Liverpool, I'll never be convinced he doesn't deserve one. But secondly, and I mean this sincerely as well, Ousmane Dembele, if he wins the Ballon d'Or, is the worst Ballon d'Or winner in the history of the competition, in my humble opinion. And I don't say that lightly. The guy has had one very good career year. One. That's it. And I get it. It is based off 1 year. But honestly, he even put up less numbers in that year than Mohamed Salah. We've seen Liverpool players robbed before. Virgil van Dijk should have had a Ballon d'Or in my opinion. And this is not a hate campaign or anything against Ousmane Dembele, but I stand over it. If he wins the Ballon d'Or, in my lifetime, he will be the worst winner of the Ballon d'Or that I can remember. And I mean that sincerely. If that brings hate upon me, so be it. It's my honest opinion, and I stand over it. Last year, Rodri, a very deserving winner in my opinion, but I just one good season in a great PSG team that conquered everything before them, but nobody will tell me he's a better footballer than Mohamed Salah. I'm just never going to have it. So, let me know your thoughts on that one. But for me, there's a couple of things I don't get. How is Victor Gyökeres 15th and Virgil van Dijk is 28th? Make that make sense. Victor Gyökeres scored a bag full of goals in, a bang average league. That's about it. Won the Portuguese league and gets him 15th? 13 places? You're trying to tell me he's 13 places better than Virgil van Dijk? I don't get it. Whoever votes on these things must lose their mind because it makes no sense to me. Elvis Presley says, we'll upset some, but I don't think Salah deserved to win it. And it's petty for him not to show up with his teammates and manager, just my opinion. Well, so what we do have to say, and I want to talk about your comment, because look, it's a fair one. I don't know why he hasn't shown up. It is unfair of me to guess why he hasn't shown up. But would I say he was the deserving winner? I think I've said a few times he probably shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or this year. I do think it's one of the stranger years for the Ballon d'Or. And look, I understand. I think Salah going out with Liverpool as early as he did in the Champions League probably put paid to his ambitions for the Ballon d'Or. But I still feel he's a more deserving winner of it than the likes of Dembele. I just do. Call it Liverpool bias, call it what you want. It's my honest opinion. So that, no hate for me on your opinion, mate. But on the why he hasn't shown up bit, we don't know. Like, truly, we don't know the answer to it, because it's not like Liverpool are holding a protest and upset about it. Our captain's there, our manager's there. I can't second guess why Mohamed Salah isn't at the ceremony, mate. I just don't know. And also, Cole Palmer in the top 10. Why? Why? He went, 6, 8 months? Something ridiculous, 20 games without scoring a goal. And he's in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. Cole Palmer's a wonderful footballer. And yes, he won the Club World Cup and the Conference League, but come on. Top 10? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a disgrace if Yamal wins. It's pure nonsense. I agree. Look, Lamine Yamal will be deserving and will win many Ballon d'Ors. He is an absolute superstar. And I'm sure by the time he hangs up his boots, he will have 3, 4, 5, maybe more Ballon d'Ors. But this season, Joseph, I agree. He wouldn't have been a deserving winner of the Ballon d'Or in my opinion. So if he does win it, it is pure nonsense. It isn't a who's the best young player coming through, because if that was the award, give it to him. He's brilliant. We love watching him. He gets you up off the edge of your seat. Any kid watching, follow that lad. Brilliant. Absolute superstar. But deserving of the Ballon d'Or for the year he had? Again, I'm going to say no. And I say that as a huge fan of his. Huge fan. Stargirl said, this weekend I learned Moyes is a conspiracy nut. Yeah, so on the David Moyes stuff, like, I don't understand what the Everton fans are cry-arsing about. So, they're moaning about Dewsbury Hall's yellow card. Fair enough. It was a stupid yellow card. I think most Liverpool fans would agree he shouldn't have got a booking. But it didn't change the game. It didn't do anything different. And with regards to David Moyes crying about 3-minute stoppage time, well, I'm going to give you a quote from our manager who's right. But firstly, we'll watch the game back. There was 3 blocks of substitutions in the second half at 30 seconds per block. That's 1.5 minutes. I think 3 minutes was right. There wasn't many stoppages. But the most important point in all of this has been lost, and Arna made it today. He said, I would have loved to play on for 3 or 4 seconds more because we were in a 5v2 situation, which we were. So Everton fans and Moyes and anybody else cry Arsenal at the time. The most likely outcome there was that we went down the other end and scored because we were on the counter when the ref blew up. So I really don't get what Moyes is cry Arsenal about. Losing 2-1 not good enough, Dave? You wanted to lose 3-1 instead? Because that's the likelihood of what was going to happen. People are losing their minds. They need to grow the fuck up. Honestly. Everton just can't handle again another game they didn't win. They got a very, very contentious equaliser in the last game at Goodison, and they didn't deserve anything from the game at Anfield. And I've been on here and I've said I think that was one of their better performances at Anfield. I think this version of Everton under David Moyes is one of the better Everton sides I've seen in a while. But they still deserve nothing from the game. Alex said, we know Chelsea won 2 cups, but Palmer was non-existent for 75% of the season. Exactly. And they won the Club World Cup. Fair play. They won the Conference League. I mean, no other Conference League winner is going to ever be in the Ballon d'Or top 10 in my opinion. So the whole thing just feels weird. Oh, jeez. The football's gone. Victor Gyökeres has just won the Gerd Muller Trophy as the best striker at the Ballon d'Or. Football's lost its mind. You won't find a single person in the world that thinks that Victor Gyökeres is even in the top 5 strikers in world football, let alone winning trophies for being the best striker. The football's lost it, honestly. Whoever votes this shit just needs to stop. Did you watch him against Manchester City? I did. Where was he? Nowhere. What did he do? Fuck all. I don't know. Every year I feel like we have this same argument about the Ballon d'Or. It is just turned into a farce at this point. Brad said, if Dembele gets a Ballon d'Or, it's not only disgraceful, but it's not surprising. It's lost its credibility. Years ago when Virgil Lewandowski got robbed of one. I agree. Like, the reason Virg didn't get his Ballon d'Or is because the Liverpool vote was split because we had 3 great players. Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk. And somehow Messi won a Ballon d'Or with numbers worse than the previous year when he didn't win a Ballon d'Or. So, like I said, I'll never ever get over that Virg not getting that Ballon d'Or. That still stings to this day. And I'm not really somebody who gives a damn about individual awards, usually, unless it's daylight robbery. The legend said, Pep is such a hypocrite. He moans about teams parking the bus and saying it's killing the game, and then goes and parks the bus. Not an issue when he does it. Did he park the bus? Really? I mean, they went 1-0 up and were defending. But if you want to talk about managers, mate, and you know I love you. You know he got on great, bro. But Arteta's a pussy. He is. And, like, I'm having a conversation with Lee Gunner back and forth, as we always do behind the scenes, because as I keep saying, we're good mates. And I don't get it. And he agrees. Arteta's a coward. At home against Manchester City. And again, he doesn't try to go and win that game from the start. He sits there. And I think the lads in commentary got it right. 45 minutes and then he let the handbrake off. So Arteta was trying to do what he had to do to grind out a result when Manchester City's season is a bit wobbly. And look, Pep being a hypocrite, dude, you're not going to get too much of an argument from me on that one because he is. But honestly, the lack of wanting to win these big games, I think, will be Mikel Arteta's undoing over the course of his career. This is now another season where if he doesn't deliver a big trophy, will Arsenal fans finally grow a pair and ask for him to be sacked? Because, you know, how long? How long before he wins a big... And I'm not talking about him scraping a League Cup or an FA Cup. Dude has to win a Premier League or a Champions League this year or he should be fired. If Arsenal fans have anything about them, they'd agree with me on that. Right, let's get cracking. Some more comments to go through and then we'll get stuck into some more news. Messi still deserved to win in 2019, not as much as Virg. I don't think so. I really don't. Not when his numbers were worse than the year before when he didn't win it. It doesn't make sense to me. David said nobody's talking about City with only 2 days of rest before the game, which is a very fair point, David. It is a fair point, and it's not often, mate, I'll stick up for Manchester City on these topics, but you're right. Even Liverpool playing Wednesday and then having the earliest kickoff on Saturday wasn't great. So it was no surprise that we flagged a bit towards the end. But you're right on that count as well. I think Arsenal played on Tuesday, David, if I'm not mistaken, and then had to go and play against Arsenal against City on the Sunday, whereas Manchester City had Thursday, Sunday. So I agree, 100%. And yet Arsenal still couldn't win. We went there last year, couldn't beat us there either. Come to Anfield, get beaten, cry arse about it. I don't know what to say anymore. Christina, how are we? Dumfries, Ruiz and Neves got robbed of the top 15. Well, let's run through some numbers from it. So let's give you a few numbers that stood out. Erling Haaland, 26th in the Ballon d'Or. Declan Rice, 27th. Virgil van Dijk, 28th. Florian Wirtz, 29th. Michael Olise, 30th. Alexis McAllister, 22nd in the Ballon d'Or. That's some of the numbers. Ryan Babel has been speaking a little bit about the Ballon d'Or and asked if he thinks Mohamed Salah should win it. He said, of course, Mohamed Salah deserves to win the Ballon d'Or, and the main reason is his consistency. Dembele lacks consistency. And he does. He does. And I probably sound like a hater about Dembele, but I stand over what I've said. If Ousmane Dembele leaves with that award tonight, he is the worst player to have won the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. And I'm not going to change my mind on that one. So, I love a supercomputer. I love an Optistat. Here's one for you. With just 2 more Premier League fixtures to play before the international break, I was reading an article in the Echo that said a fresh prediction has now been put out there by Opta on the numbers and if Liverpool win the Premier League. So the prediction states that Liverpool will finish with 82 points this season, which they have comfortably ahead of Arsenal, who Opta have finished in second place with 74 points. Manchester City in third place on this with 67 points. Do you know who they have finishing fourth? This shows why these things have to be taken with a pinch of salt. They have Crystal Palace on 60 point finishing fifth, and Chelsea on 62 finishing fourth. So they have Palace in fifth place in this one. They also give Liverpool a 60% chance of being crowned Premier League champions once again. And that number, I think, sounds about right, to be honest with you. 60% chance for the Reds to be crowned Premier League champions once again. Pavel Nedved won the Ballon d'Or over Thierry Henry in 2003. That was one of the biggest robberies. But honestly, I can sit here and say that I have no problem with Nedved winning a Ballon d'Or because I think he's good enough to deserve one over his career. So, this just feels mental to me, the idea of Dembele or Yamal winning. Look, I say it about Yamal because Yamal will win many and deserve to win many. And I, like everybody else, I'm a huge fan of the kid. But I don't think he deserves one last season. Someone said there's some leaks in Egypt suggesting that Mohamed Salah will finish third, which would be considered the best position of his football career. Look, I could live with third. I'm not going to sit here and say he's robbed if he doesn't get it. If we had gone a round or two further in the Champions League, I honestly think, he would have been nailed on for it. But I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I've said this before. The fact we went out in the first knockout stage probably put paid to his chances. But it just feels, if he finishes his career with what he's done as consistently as he has, with a European Cup and Premier League titles and League Cups and Club World Cup, it'll just feel like a sham if he doesn't have a Ballon d'Or by the end of it. If, he's deserving of it. The legend said, I don't deny that Arteta is afraid of losing. So you don't have to super chat me this, mate. I'll keep an eye out, looking out for your answer. But honestly, let me know. if he doesn't win something this year, and look, you're a fairly rational Arsenal fan who I enjoy interacting with, would you sack him if you were the board if Arteta doesn't win a big trophy this year? I think there's Onana robbed, mate. I agree with you. Onana absolutely robbed. Should have been it. Best player I've ever seen on a football pitch, Andre Onana. So I'm with you, mate. Robbed. Unless he gets the big one, like you said. Joseph said, why do trophies determine an individual award? Stupid. What you've said in theory makes sense. I do think it has to come into it to some degree. For instance, let's just say a player wasn't playing in the Champions League and put up 45 goals in the Premier League. I wouldn't be expecting that player to not, to win a Ballon d'Or. I think you have to be featuring in the big competitions, minimal. But again, I do get where you're coming from, Joseph. It is supposed to be an individual award based on individual merits, and just look at the numbers between Salah and Dembele. I'll read them out to you because I have them here to hand. So Ousmane Dembele got 48 goals and assists in 50 games last season. That was his numbers. Mohamed Salah got 57 goals and assists in 52 games last year. So, again, even looking at the numbers, Salah there has had a better season. Now, of course, PSG won the Champions League, and that has to count for a lot because they deserve to win the Champions League. But I still find it very difficult to believe that Ousmane Dembele is the best player in the world. I can't be having it. The legend said, no major trophy, he has to go. I appreciate you saying that because honestly, if this was a Liverpool manager, mate, I'd feel the same. And I think most Liverpool fans would feel the same. Consistency is great. Progression is good. But progression has to get to the point where progression means big trophies, right? Especially with the money being spent. Gromit said, why is Salah not attending the Ballon d'Or? Hand on heart, mate, I don't know. I only found out he wasn't attending it at about 8:10, to be honest with you. So I really don't know what the reason is. As we said, we know our manager's there, we know our captain's there, so it's not like Liverpool were boycotting it for some reason. Right, so the poll that we have up, and we're heading towards 2,000 votes, so if you can, please do vote. We're asking you, would you be happy with Upamecano as a Canada replacement? Reason we're asking the question is there's a report today that said Liverpool are looking at him as a possible alternative should Ibrahim Kanade depart at the end of his contract. What do I think about Madrid boycotting? Same as I thought last year. I don't have much respect for the club that talk about respect, but yet don't show up to the ceremonies. Want to blow up the Champions League to go create the Super League, and again they're talking to the rest of us about respect. So yeah, Madrid, I'm not surprised. Right, a couple of things about tomorrow's game. So Arna was asked about tomorrow's game and asked could we see some players. He said, could ISAK, Leone and Mamadashvili get some minutes? He said, yes, we can go through all of them. Endo and a few more. These are the players that need a game and we're happy that we have one. But James Pearce put out Liverpool's expected attack against Southampton. This will be really interesting and I'm actually really looking forward to watching it. So James Pearce reckons that Liverpool's attack will be Federico Chiesa, Rio Ngamoa and Alexander Isak. That will be exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing that those three boys together up top, as well as, of course, the rest of the changes we're seeing tomorrow. Mamadashvili in goal, Leone getting his first Liverpool appearance. I'm hoping to see the likes of Trey Leone in there, maybe Jayden Danns to get some minutes. Really exciting. Can't wait for it. Don't remember being this excited for an early round League Cup game in a few years. Bobby said, plastic trophy, we don't need PR to know his worth. Absolutely, sir. We do know his worth, and we know the great man is deserving of a lot more praise around the world than he gets a lot of the time. Joe said midfield would be Jones, Endo and Leone. That's what I'd go with, Joe. Yeah, I think if my memory's right, Joe, that might be what I did in my preview. But yeah, I think you're probably spot on there, mate. Haley said, ooh, this is exciting. Rio, Isak, Chiesa getting game time. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm buzzing to see this game tomorrow. Paul said Gay is better than Upamecano. 100% agree, Paul. 100%, mate. 1 second. Just want to go through some other notes. So, even Gary Neville is having to admit that Liverpool are looking good this year in the Prem. He said, at this moment, 5 points clear at the end of today. Obviously, it's very early. It's far too early to call Liverpool title winners, but they're massive favourites. And he ain't wrong. We are. We knew going into this season that we were going to have that burden, if you want to call it that, of being favourites. But hopefully we live up to it. And so far, you know, nobody's going to sit here and say this is the best Liverpool performance start to a season you're going to see on the pitch. But results-wise, it's perfect. So imagine when we do click, as we keep talking about. Paul said, think McAllister will start tomorrow. I don't know, mate. I can see where you're coming from. I can totally understand the perspective, Paul, but I would say maybe give him 25 at the end, keep him ticking over, and then get him ready for the game against Crystal Palace. We've got 3 away games in a row coming up now after Southampton tomorrow night. We travel to London for Crystal Palace, then over to Istanbul for Galatasaray, and then again it's an away trip to Chelsea and Stamford Bridge before the international break. Would you not give Wirtz a run tomorrow? Again, not to start, no. You know, I'll maybe he could be one of the big hitters on the bench because, you know, you got to rest the Virgils, the Salahs, the Canades. They should be rested up, in my opinion. But, yeah, I would say Wirtz on the bench. The real Johnny Sin said Craig Dembele was literally invisible before March, but totally forgot that he even existed after he left Barca. Like I said, mate, I don't say it lightly, but I stand over it. If he wins the Ballon d'Or, he'll be the worst winner of the Ballon d'Or that I can remember. And again, not intended to be hateful, just a genuine opinion. Wayne, how are we, dude? At the game tomorrow with the wife-to-be. Both excited. Then now hearing ISAK and Rio playing. Now I definitely can't wait, WFM Craig. I hope you guys have a great time, Wayne. And yeah, that front three is going to be fun. Chiesa, Rio Ngamoa and Alexander Isak. I'm thinking we see Isak grab his first goal tomorrow, folks. What we saying? Right, we only need 92 more votes to get to 2,000 on the Upamecano poll. So if you haven't voted on it, please do. Who do I want to win the Ballon d'Or? I want Salah to win it, but I don't think... I don't personally think Dembele was Paris Saint-Germain's best player. So for me, it's a no for him. I don't think there is a really obvious candidate, like in maybe in years gone by. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't see Dembele being a deserving winner. I can't square that off in my mind. What about Modric winning a Craig? He's a fantastic player, but never deserved it that year. But he deserved one. So sometimes, Ollie, like I'm saying about Mo, sometimes a player's career deserves that recognition. And for Modric, whilst I probably agree with you, his career, I think, and the impact he had on football at the highest levels deserve the Ballon d'Or. No, for those asking, the reports are that Salah isn't at the ceremony, and to be fair, we would have known by now. We know Arna's there, we know Virgil's there, but no. David said, Craig, if Rafinha or Dembele, I have no complaints. Also, Dembele was with PSG. Salah did it with Darwin to his side. I don't know, man. Look, for me, I'm just going to keep trying to say it out loud that Salah deserves a Ballon d'Or before his career is over, and the recognition probably won't be given, unfortunately. Right, keep going. Lots more to talk about. This piece here from AS over in Spain said that Ibrahim Konate is not Real Madrid's top choice. Their primary target is Arsenal's William Saliba. So here's what I find funny. As fans, football fans and Liverpool fans, we're now expected to believe a few things. That Madrid want Konate, Saliba, Upamecano and Mark Gay. And that they all told Madrid they want to go there and they're going there. Because that's just a flavour of what's come out in the last week. Upamecano, Konate, Saliba and Mark Gay all have basically nailed the colours for the Madrid mast, according to reports. I'm calling bullshit. Particularly on the Mark Gay one. I'd love to know who the Mirror's source was for that. But I don't believe for 1 second that Mark Gay has told his representatives that he wants to go to Real Madrid. Not for a second. David, lovely to see you in as always, sir. Good evening to you. And again, thank you for your regards to the community. Right, so 65% of over 2,000 people that voted said that they do not think that Upamecano is a good enough replacement for Ibrahim Konate should we require one. And I would definitely put myself in that 65%. So yeah, thank you to everyone that voted. Right, couple of bits and pieces. If I could ask you, hit that like button for me, folks, if you're enjoying the stream. Appreciate your support. Which one was this? So, Anfield Edition, crediting at Lewis Bower, said, training only, Jayden Dans, Kieran Morrison and Tommy Pilling did not feature in Liverpool's under-21s game against Man United yesterday, which probably hints at some involvement in the game against Southampton. So I think he's probably on the money. Also, I'm not sure if you're all aware of this or if some of you are, but Matt Beard, who was Liverpool's, formerly Liverpool women's team's head coach, passed away at the age of 47. So again, I'm so sad having to say this again, but I want to send our sincere condolences and our love and our best wishes to Matt Beard's family. And of course, everybody that worked under him and with him. 47 is no age to have passed away. And, you know, it feels like it's been a tough last couple of months, a lot of losses, and Matt Beard at the age of 47 is far too young. So again, a sad day for football, a sad day for Liverpool family, and you know, reading through lots of the former players who'd been coached by him, nothing but good things to say about Matt. You know, always a smile on his face, great words of encouragement to his players. Just an incredibly sad thing to hear of his passing. So condolences sincerely from all of us. Right, there was something else I wanted to go back through. Yeah, so the Mirror said that Mark Gay has told his advisors that it's hard to set on a move to Real Madrid after an agreement to join Liverpool fell through at the 11th hour. I don't for 1 second believe that story. Now, I'm not saying nailed on Mark Gay is coming to Liverpool. I don't know. But I don't for 1 second believe that a month later, in a new campaign, that he's already said, oh yeah, well that's it. I'm off to Madrid, then off we pop. I think I'm going to call bullshit on the Mirror for that one, because I read the article, the actual piece itself, and it's just the usual old Mirror sources. Yeah, really? Come on now. Jacko said, why would Mark spend a day with Liverpool medicals, wait to sign a 5-year deal if he went to Madrid and could leave next summer for free? Exactly, Jacko, mate. Exactly. And where were Madrid? If Madrid wanted him that badly, Jacko, like again, where were they when the offers were going in from Liverpool and Newcastle previously? They'd no interest, did they? So, yeah, I don't believe it, Jacko, one bit, mate. I just don't. Keane said, no, sorry, somebody else. I'm so tired, Paul Donnelly, of the media saying everyone in there now wants to go to Madrid. I'm fed up of it as well, dude. Absolutely fed up of it. Carl said 47, I'm 49, really makes you think how life is short. Absolutely, mate. It's heartbreaking stuff. Like I said before, my father passed away 1 year older than I am now, and his father passed away at 37. So, yeah, I've always been aware of my mortality, but to hear about Matt Beard, I just couldn't believe it. Like, so sad. Stargirl said Liverpool are waiting to play their best game for when you're at Anfield. I guess United is going to get battered. You must be getting excited. I am. I'm really excited. So I'm excited for a couple of reasons, Stargirl. One, I'm going over to the game after a family trip to Turkey, so I should be well rested and hopefully have a bit of a suntan. So then go over there for that game, spend time with Brian and Brian's brother and his missus, go to the Eights Lounge to watch it. Yeah, just buzzing. And also then, after the game, straight to the club, the Hot Water Comedy Club, for my last ever stage show, which there are still some tickets left for. So if you want to come and see us, you know what to do. Make sure you get them, because I would imagine over the next couple of weeks, they will be moving quickly and we can't increase the capacity once they're sold. Arthur Smith said, sorry to be off topic, but I think I found a way Arna can play both Isak and Ekatike. Let's say Vert's on the left, Hugo's the 10, and Isak up the middle. Yeah, we'd figured, or we'd had that conversation a couple of times, Arthur. So it would probably either involve a formation change to something like a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-4-2, depending if you're in or out possession. Also, we know that there's the opportunity for Isak or Ekatike to drift off to the left-hand side. But look, sure, we're only just getting to see Isak settling now, so we'll have all season to hopefully see them on the pitch together. But appreciate the input, sir, as always. Lord Astro Waffle, why is Salah not attending? I'd be a liar if I told you I knew, mate. I haven't got a clue. That's why I'm saying, I'm not saying it is or isn't anything. I truly just do not know why he's not at this ceremony. I haven't got a clue. Stephen said, did Mr. Beard commit suicide? I have no idea, mate, and I always say let's not speculate on these things. Yeah, I haven't got a clue. It was the same recently as well with another passing with the Ricky Hatton one. I don't like to throw around these words at all, because who knows? I have no idea why either passed or how either passed, but what I do know is the two gentlemen are no longer with us, and it's an incredible loss to their families, to sport, and to anybody that's known and worked with them. David Coughlin, I agree with your point. You said if Messi did what Salah did last season, the Ballon d'Or would be his, without a doubt. No doubt in my mind you're right there, David. What was I going to ask you guys? Something actually I wanted to ask. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, sorry, it slipped my mind. So I'll come back to it in a moment, if I can think of it. Robert said, I know where Craig is, Mo. He sat at home watching Anfield Agenda. If you are, Mo, hi, love you, bro. I always do, you have to wonder if any of the lads have ever clicked in for a minute or gone, oh, look at this idiot, or, you do think about it occasionally. Like, you try not to overthink about it, but, like, for instance, I know that there were some people at the club who've watched it because I've heard some stuff back, but I don't know exactly if any players have ever watched it or not. What I did know is that when I met Jamie Webster, he recognised me from the channel, which was lovely. John watching. Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe. If he is, though, well done. Fair play for finally opening up the checkbook, mate, and getting that few bob in for the manager. So here's one for you. Actually, now I remembered what it was. Right. So we seen a conversation the other day with Andy Robertson, and he was saying why his family were settled in Liverpool and why he turned down the opportunity to move away in the summer and stayed. But we also know that Robbo's contract is up at the end of this season. Now, I would love him to sign an extension because I do love the balance of having a senior pro like Robbo and Milos Kerkez in the squad. But I want to know is, would you guys give Andy Robertson a new deal? Now, of course, we don't know. You would imagine it would be probably something similar if we did get one to Virgil's, to Mo's, something around the 2-year mark. But I want to know, would you give Robbo a new deal, yay or nay? Am I watching the Ballon d'Or? No, I'm on here with you good folks, chatting away. I'm sure you'll all let me know what happens with the Ballon d'Or. I'm not big into them, really, and these individual awards, but I do want to have my say on Salah being snubbed over the course of his career. I just don't think it's right. Petriocat said, Craig, appreciate your show. Next year will be Liverpool on all fronts regarding the Ballon d'Or. Robbo is very good. Give him a 2-year contract. Well, appreciate you for your support, and I'm with you on the 2-year contract as well, my friend. Robbo loves the club. Yes, from me. Same as well, Michael. And of course, he signed a 2-year, or excuse me, what am I saying? Signed a 2-year. He's now the vice captain of the club as well, which is another good reason, in my opinion. Bobby said Robbo is too important as a senior and morale. I agree, 100%. You know, we've got a lovely balance there. You've got the senior experienced pro and Andy Robertson, been there, done it, captained his country. And you've got the young Milos Kerkez, who was like, you know, a regen of Robbo. It's perfect for me. I love the balance of having both of those gents at the club. Ryan said, to be fair, if you're a Premier League player, not only do you need to win the Premier League, you also need the Champions League, 30 goals or so. It is mad how unbalanced against the Prem the Ballon d'Or seems to have been. We say that though, but Rodri won it last year. Now, we did have success with Spain, of course. And I thought Rodri was a deserving winner of the Ballon d'Or. Certainly more deserving, in my opinion, of Vinicius Jr. Simon Orn said, hey Craig, love the show. Don't get a lot of spare time to attend every night, but I love it when I do. Thank you, mate. And I appreciate your time and your support, bro. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Lexi Week said, Virgil was snubbed a number of years ago when Messi won the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, our vote was split. That's what the problem was that year. So we had Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Sadio Mane all very high up in the voting. And the voting was split, which ended up costing Virg. So I agree that year he 100% should have had it. Billy said, Craig, it's mad that Jude Bellingham and Gyökeres are higher in the rankings than Virgil. The Gyökeres thing is just mental. Just absolutely mental. I just can't get my head around that. Scratching Claimer said, if Salah's not there, we can guarantee Dembele won. I think 4 players, Rafinha, Salah, Yamal, Dembele, stood out last season. However, ultimately, Dembele won the Champions League, which weighs heavy with these awards. It does. It didn't weigh too heavy with Rodri winning it last year. But he did have success with Spain. But in that case, Mohamed Salah had success, you know, in the league with Liverpool. I don't know. I find it hard to argue what you've said because it's you know, it's fairly common sense. The idea of Ousmane Dembele having a Ballon d'Or And Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk not having one just feels all kinds of wrong to me as a Liverpool fan and as a football fan. Pasky said, I'd give him an extra year with the option of a second depending on performances. He's a legend of the club, very grateful for him. I don't think, and again, I'm just guessing, I wouldn't sign that contract if I was Robbo. I wouldn't. I would want minimum of a 2-year guarantee. Not 1 year and we'll see how you get on. I would want 2. And same for like Virgil and Mo. In their positions, 2 had to be the number. So I get your opinion and I appreciate your feedback. But for me, I wouldn't sign a 1-year deal if I was Andy Robertson. Vicity said, love the Diogo shirt at the back. Thank you. Well, we're going to be giving one away soon. We're running a competition that we're starting tomorrow with a memorabilia company. All will be announced during the watch along. But we are going to be giving away a signed frame Diogo Jota shirt to obviously one lucky person. So do make sure you're with us for the watch along tomorrow when we will give you details of how and where you can enter. Fred said, Craig, happy to be here. I think our manager should have also won something, but they give it to Luis Enrique. Look, can't really begrudge Luis Enrique, with everything that they've won there as well. He's an outstanding coach, and that was an outstanding season that they had, and I think he's a deserving winner of the Manager of the Year. The real Johnny Sin said, Craig, Palace are 17 games unbeaten. Playing them this Saturday away will be our toughest game so far this season. I don't think it'll be our toughest game. I think you're right to say it's not going to be easy. And again, their run is impressive. But Arsenal is a tougher game, in my opinion. Atletico Madrid, probably a tougher game. So it's going to be difficult. Selhurst Park's not easy. But hopefully there's a bit of added motivation, knowing that they beat us in the Community Shield on Penos and the whole Mark A thing. So it'll be interesting. But, at least we've got Tuesday and then rest and then Saturday at 3 o'clock. So weird that, by the way, this is our first 3 p.m. game this season. Jason says, hi Craig, why did Messi win against Virgil and didn't win the Champions League and Virgil did? So not fair debate. So like I said, it's voted for, and our vote, Jason, that year, if you go back and look at it, it was split between 3 players, and that's what I think cost Virgil. So Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane and Virgil all got votes split between different coaches and press and national team captains around the world. So that's what caused Virgil. If one of those 2 gents wasn't up for the award or, so highly thought of, he probably would have had the Ballon d'Or that year. So unfortunately, that one at least made sense to me as to why he didn't get it, although I still think he should have got it. Fred said, I'm glad Donnarumma won the best goalkeeper. He really deserves it. He was very decisive last year in big moments, Gianluigi Donnarumma. And look, I'm somebody who thinks Donnarumma is a little bit hit and miss, but he had huge moments last year against us at Anfield, against Arsenal. He did. Thoroughly deserving winner for the best goalkeeper. He's had a great campaign. Right, so Mamardashvili said this. When I was a child, it was like a dream to meet players like Alisson, Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. And now I'm with them and I'm so happy. There are a lot of quality players. I knew it before. What I saw is crazy. It's really crazy. So again, Georgie Mamardashvili there speaking about the sheer talent that he trains with day in and day out. 1-2 said, in my opinion, VVD was kind of robbed of second Footballer of the Year award in 1920 also. Hendo won it for narrative reasons, but VVD was easily our best player again. It's a good point. Look, one Liverpool player won the award, so, that's good for us, but again, I'll never push back against Virgil being deserving to win anything, because I think the big man's absolutely incredible. Oh, hello, Lewis. Wow. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome. So happy for you. Always love to hear somebody winning a few bob, mate. Enjoy it and spend it. I would say spend it wisely, but nah, fuck it. Spend it frivolously, dude. Do something fun. Congratulations, said Craig. I thought I'd give you a little something nice since I won $2,000 at bingo. That's awesome, my man. Well in. I hope you treat yourself to something nice, maybe a nice holiday or something else. But yeah, well done to you. Sláinte. And thank you for sharing the love as well, Lewis. Very kind of you. I always love hearing people winning a few bob, mate. Well in. Darkspine Gaming, how are you, my friend? Said, hi Craig, do you feel it would be just feel wrong for both Mo and Virgil to finish their careers at a single Ballon d'Or? I do, mate, yeah, I do. It really, because it doesn't really matter who you talk to, both of them would be right up there in any conversation around the best players for the last 10 years. Not saying they'd be number one, but they'd be in the mix. And for both of them to not have a Ballon d'Or, it's nuts. Like, let's go back to even opposition players. So, Casemiro, who has no need to praise Mohamed Salah in any way, shape or form, as a United player, a former Real Madrid player, and Brazilian. So he's no connection to Mohamed Salah. And he said, for me, the Ballon d'Or winner should be Mohamed Salah. And fair play to Casemiro for that. Really much appreciated. Also, Rodri and Bernardo Silva were asked a few questions. Toughest opponent, that they faced in the Premier League, I would say Mohamed Salah and Liverpool. In the Champions League, Real Madrid, but in the Premier League, it's Liverpool. So again, huge compliment there from Bernardo Silva and Rodri to Mohamed Salah and of course to Liverpool. Toe said, Craig, what's the best ever Only Fools and Horses episode? It's got to be Time on Our Hands. It's got to be. Where they realise they have the watch. And the genius about that episode, and the genius of that whole story about the watch, the lesser watch, as it's known. Harrison, I can't remember the guy's name, Harrison something. The beauty about that is that they had it all along. And they were millionaires all along. So in the very first episode, I think it is, or one of the very first episodes, you see Rodney talking about, keeping receipts for stuff when he started working with Dell. And then you fast forward to the end of the show there, or towards the end of it, when they are there with Raquel's father and they're in the lockup, and he spots the watch. And that moment of realization, and that they were always millionaires. They always had that watch and that money there. John Sullivan's just an incredible writer, and I just tied the whole thing together perfectly. John Harrison, there you go, thank you. I thought that just tied the whole thing together perfectly. Apart from that one, what else was great? Heroes and Villains. I mean, you can't talk about Only Fools and Horses without the Heroes and Villains episode, and Del Boy and Rodney running through the streets in the Batman and Robin costume, and then bursting into the funeral, not knowing it was a funeral because it was supposed to be a fancy dress party. It's just brilliant. Just brilliant. Tiger said, thank you for great channel. Has Rio signed a new contract? I don't actually know that, mate. I'm waiting for confirmation on that. The bar scene. Oh, that's brilliant. Don't crap my style, Trig. Don't crap my style. Just brilliant. I have the whole box set, and it's one of my most treasured possessions. I'll never get rid of it. Got it. That's brilliant as well. Got it. Yeah, I could do a podcast on Only Fools and Horses, definitely. I know it inside out. It's that and Seinfeld. are two shows that I know inside out, backwards, and could probably nearly spout the words to most episodes. The funniest scene has to be the chandelier. Did you ever see the story? Nicholas Lyndhurst talks about that scene and the pressure that they were under because they could only afford one chandelier to get made. So they had to get it right first time. And Nicholas Lyndhurst talks about one of the show producers or something doing something that nearly made him laugh off camera, which would have got him fired. Yeah, just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. The girl they say is the counsel from in Batman and Robin is Harry Kill's wife. That's mad. Yeah, just love that show. I love it. Could talk about it for hours. Studley said the director was smiling and laughing, hadn't told Rodney not to laugh. He said it was one of the hardest things he had to do. Yep. Do you know what else I loved Studley? You've probably seen the same documentary thing I did, where they had all the blow up dolls and all in Rodney's room one night, and he stuck them in the lift in the hotel. Just brilliant, man. I loved it. Paul Owens, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you. I love the yellow car. It's iconic. Yeah, people often think that it's a Reliant Robin, but it isn't. It's a Reliant Super Van or something like that. It's always called a Reliant Robin, but apparently it isn't a Reliant Robin. Do I support a League of Ireland team? Yes, Shelbourne. Derek. Well, not the real Derek Zoolander. So, do you think one day we'll pay attention to women's football more, like going to games, etc.? So, it's a very tricky subject to navigate, to discuss, but so here's the thing I also talk about with women's football, and it's my honest opinion. There are a lot of women's sports that I will happily watch versus their male counterparts or alongside their male counterparts. Women's tennis, women's MMA, women's boxing, women's darts. So many sports I will sit here and happily watch as much and enjoy as much as I would the men's game. But I will always feel that there is a physiological difference to the ability for women and men to play football. And because of that physiological difference, I find it a very different game to watch. And ironically, when I do watch women's football, it seems to almost have the reverse from my experience of male football, in that the national team games seem to be of a higher standard, at least the ones that I've watched, to the club games. Whereas when you flip that and you've got the men's one, you would say that international football is more monotonous and club football is more enjoyable, and that the standard of club football would be higher. So there are a few things like that. So it's just not my cup of tea, personally. I'm delighted the game is growing. I'm delighted more money's coming into it. I'm delighted these women and coaches are finally getting the recognition and the ability to be treated like the athletes that they deserve to be treated. 100%. They deserve the same coaching, the same nutrition, the same sports science, all that stuff. 100%. I'm just not a fan. The same way I am of a lot of other women's sports. Like, like I said, I happily watch women's boxing, women's MMA, women's tennis, women's golf, women's 2020 cricket, loads of other sports. Football isn't for me. I feel the same with basketball. Weirdly, actually, basketball was one of the sports I was saying to my missus yesterday, because believe it or not, I had this conversation with my wife yesterday. And I actually think the standard of women's basketball is really good. Now, I wouldn't be an avid basketball watcher. So, I wouldn't be able to spot the same differences as somebody who knows the sport inside out. But I think the standard of women's basketball, from what I've seen, has come on leaps and bounds. I seen something on CNN the other night to say that the team that is a Caitlin Clark plays for, that they're getting something like 17,000 average attendance for a home game. That's crazy. Mo finished fourth. So Mohamed Salah finishes fourth in the Ballon d'Or. Harry said, oh, where did this one go up? Oh, let me just log back out and into this for a sec. One sec, folks. There we go. So, sorry, just joined the stream, but Salah should use it as fuel for next year. Absolutely, 100%. And hopefully we have the season this year and Mo can get that award. I agree. H Game said, Craig, my wife and I could do an Only Fools and Horses podcast and sit and watch it on repeat and even know what's coming next without seeing the screen. I could join you on it, mate. If you ever do start to invite me on for an episode or two, because I tell you what, I'll be there. I'll be right there with you, knowing the lines and what's coming next as well. I still, even when I turn on UK Gold or whatever now, still watch it if it's on. Love it. Indiana Fever, that's the one. I'd also seen as well that the women only get paid just under 10% of the revenue for basketball in the WNBA compared to the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL, and they get close to 50%. So that needs to be addressed as well. With more money coming into the women's game in basketball, certainly the percentage that gets paid out to the women athletes should rise. Although I do, from what I believe, understand that the WNBA was a loss leader for many years. It's only starting to generate more money now, but interesting to find out these little bits and pieces. Naturalist said, Salah seems to have indicated in an earlier interview that he's now working for the team and not going for individual awards. Dembele wins it. Yeah, so Dembele won the Ballon d'Or. And I will stand over what I said. Ousmane Dembele, in my humble opinion, is the worst player ever to win a Ballon d'Or. And I don't say that out of hate. I say that as an honest opinion as a football fan. And, you know, I don't take any pleasure in saying it, but I still say what I said earlier. He's the worst player to have ever won a Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. But congratulations to him nonetheless. So what was the top three in the end then? If Salah came fourth, Dembele came first, what was the top three? So, and just somebody let me know in the chat now what the top three was. Royal Flush is a great episode as well, Vicity. I know they're not your cards, Trigger. Or excuse me, I know they're not your cards, Boise, because they're not the cards I dealt you. That's a great episode as well, where they were spending the money their mum left them, gambling. Yeah, that was brilliant. Vitinha and Yamal. I'm sorry. In what world did Lamine Yamal have a better season than Salah? In what world? Please do let me know. I know we won some stuff with Spain in the Euros, but fuck off. I love the kid. He's incredible and will deserve to win multiple Ballon d'Ors throughout his career. But again, I'm not having that he finished above Salah. That is absolute piss take. That's a piss take. I'm sorry, it is. For Salah to be below Lamine Yamal for the season that's gone, no. Not having that. Ryan said even Rafinha should have been higher than Yamal. It's because he won the Champions League, Craig. Who's arse? It's a farce. Look, whatever about Dembele winning it, and I still don't think He's by any stretch the best player in the world. For Salah to be fourth, I'm sorry, Mo. I'm sorry for you, bro, because that's shocking. That's shocking. Fourth. So all the talk that's always been there about Salah being disrespected in world football is right, because he is. It's unfair. Fourth is a piss take. Hang your heads in shame. Aaron said if Salah had a European or South American passport, he'd have won, no question. Look, again, I'm not going to throw around racism accusations or anything like that, but what I am going to say is I hope Mo knows how much he's loved, because not just Liverpool fans, football fans, parents of kids who are looking for idols and players to emulate and be like, Egyptian kids growing up knowing that they too can conquer the world, same as any child. Mohamed Salah's journey to get to where he is, the sacrifices that he made, the professionalism, the moral courage, and the class that that man shows day after day, week after week, season after season, deserves more recognition than he gets from those in power in world football. So I hope Mohamed Salah knows that every Liverpool fan on the planet loves him dearly and cherishes every moment we have with him in the team. Every football fan in the world knows Mohamed Salah deserves better than he's getting, and we'll give him the recognition he deserves, because he's our king. And I'm appalled that he's fourth in the Ballon d'Or. So I'm sure Liverpool fans will join me in saying to Mo, we love you, Mo. You'll always be an icon and a hero to us. And we know what we know, which is that you are the GOAT, sir. You are one of the greatest to do it in a Liverpool shirt. You are the GOAT of this era. And for these clowns not to acknowledge that, but giving the man a Ballon d'Or, is an absolute disgrace. To finish fourth. You know, I don't know. Frustrating. Ryan said, Craig, I'm not surprised. Reward has been awful for ages, or the award has been awful for ages, and I can understand why he didn't attend. I just can't understand why they disrespect him. It's shocking, man. It's shocking. It's fucking shocking. You know, like I said this, Casemiro has no reason to be saying that Mohamed Salah should win the Ballon d'Or. Plays for our arch rivals. Played for Madrid before that. Not a national team colleague. And I want to read out to you once again what the Egyptian national team coach had to say, because I think he encapsulated it beautifully. He said, considering the hardship he's encountered along his journey, he deserves it. Based on the size of the challenges you overcome, he deserves it. Measuring years of brilliance, excellence and creativity in the strongest league in the world, he deserves it. It is difficult to get to the top, but all the difficulty lies in continuing on the top, and he has reached the top and continued on it for many years, thanks to God first, then his talent, hard work and determination, until he became a role model for all success seekers. It is time for football to be fair, and fair with them to choose the winner. Our prayers and the prayers of all Egyptians and all Salah's fans around the world that Salah should be the winner of the Ballon d'Or, to be the best crowning of a career of a great player that may not be repeated again in our history of Egyptian, Arab and African football, and also international. Every word of that is right. Every single word. And more. And look, I'm somebody who's been critical of Mo in the past. I'm somebody who's been critical of situations that have happened. But every fibre of my body believes that man should have a Ballon d'Or for the career he's had. And nobody will ever convince me otherwise. He is everything we would want a superstar to be. Humble, lives the life of an athlete, stays out of the newspapers for anything except football, has the moral courage to stand up and speak when he needs to on world issues and uses his platform for good. That's what I want my kids emulating. That's the type of man that I want my son to look at and think, yeah, I want to be like him. I want to be Mohamed Salah. Because he's just class. Just a class act from start to finish. Either Mo or Vitinha should have won it. Rigged, said Joseph Purvis. Robert Banks said, look at that list. Do people forget Liverpool won the hardest league? I know, mate. I know. And somehow I'm supposed to sit here and watch Declan Rice finishing, 13 places above Virgil or above Virgil. Let me get the exact numbers here. Hang on. So, sorry, one place. Declan Rice 27, Virgil 28. Fair enough on that, actually. My bad. One place either way, I can get that. But I'm supposed to sit here and believe that Victor Gyökeres, who scored a load of goals in a shit league, is 15th. And the captain of the Premier League winning team that almost had a double is 28th. Fuck that award. Every single bit of it. Fuck it. Paul said Craig Rice scored 2 free kicks. Of course he finished above Virgil. Yeah, and won nothing. Tots Rocky said the best season ever in the world's best league, and he did this in a season where the quality of the teams in the league was at its best ever. Shame. It's just shocking. 4th. Like, we're not talking about Mo finishing runner-up to Dembele and we could go, well, maybe it was close, blah, blah, blah. 4th. And Cole Palmer absolutely fraudulently finding himself in the top 10. How? He went a ridiculous length of time without scoring a goal. How many times have we said this? But we need to stop giving this award the credibility it has because it doesn't deserve it anymore. It really doesn't. This Ballon d'Or is becoming a farce. And somebody with money and influence should create a far, far better award that actually has credibility than this fucking shit show. Year after year, we're on here talking about the same thing. Robbery. And this isn't Liverpool not winning it salty. I'm used to Liverpool players not winning Ballon d'Ors. I haven't seen one since Michael Owen. But come on. Some of these positions are ridiculous. Mike makes a good point. Where's the big surprise that Marcus said in the morning? It isn't there, But again, a lot of the stuff that comes out of that particular outlet is, shall we say, questionable. Suzuki Aizen said, imagine creating an individual award and then being judged on how many trophies you've acquired as a team for you to move up the rankings. Oh dear, FIFA. Yeah, and French Football Magazine. Both of them. Shocking. Just the disrespect is just incredible. And you know what we're going to get? We'll get it all online like we always do. This comment will be full of people calling me deluded and saying I'm a salty Liverpool fan and blah, 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 blah. But they know I'm right. Deep down, they know I'm right. You're all right. Salah is constantly disrespected in world football. It's bullshit. Curtis said, complete farce, mate. Given an individual award based on team accomplishments, make it make sense. The whole list is a joke. Yep. And like I said, PSG winning team of the year, no issue with that. The coach getting coach of the year, no issue with that. But there is not one fibre of my body that thinks Ousmane Dembele was the greatest footballer in the world over the 12 months. Not one. He had less numbers than Salah individually. And that's what this award's supposed to be, right? Individual. Again, let me run you through those numbers. Just in case anybody is coming in and thinking these lads are deluded. No, we're not. We're running off our numbers. And the numbers point to the fact that Mohamed Salah, in my opinion, should have been further up that Ballon d'Or than he was. Ousmane Dembele, in the French League and other competitions, 48 goals and assists in 50 matches. That's what your Ballon d'Or winner got. 48 goals and assists in 50 games last season. Fourth place, who won the Premier League and did all of this in the toughest league in the world, 57 goals and assists in 52 games, finishes fourth. Shit show. Waddy said the upper echelons of these football federation hands more brown envelopes than Royal Mail. Take them with a pinch of salt. They're destroying the credibility of the sport, mate. You know? And what really makes me laugh about all of this is UEFA, FIFA, all these are supposed to be non-profit making organisations, but they're selling their soul over and over again. And then they have the cheek to always tell us that they can't be transparent about stuff because, you know, secrecy, rules. Football stinks at times. Fred said Mo's a living legend not only for one club but for many clubs, and his humility is beyond the Ballon d'Or trophy. I'm very sure he knows that's the one thing can take away from him. Exactly, mate. He's a class act on and off the pitch and a damn good human being. Maybe Trent actually has more chance than Salah. No, he doesn't. Even going to Real Madrid ain't going to help him there. Because let's be honest, even look at his own team. He's down that pecking order quite a bit. So yeah, there's no chance of that happening. Josh, Hussam, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. No, Joseph, I did your super chat, Joseph. You must have just missed it, mate. I did it. It was the one about Vitinha and Salah. So I did read it out, bro. I don't know if you were maybe away from your phone or computer at the time, but I promise you, mate, I did bring it up. I'll do it again for you just to be nice, but I did bring it up before, mate. You said either Mo or Vitinha should have won it, rigged. So, highest goals and assists wins it. Great logic. Only EPL players. Can I have that in English? I don't know what you're trying to say. Like, I'm not just trying to say that Mo having more goals and assists is the sole reason that he should win it. He's a better footballer for a start than Ousmane Dembele. He won and plays in a better league than Ousmane Dembele. He plays for a poorer international team, making it more difficult to have success on the international stage. So, I don't know what you're trying to say, mate, but what I'm trying to tell you is he's a better footballer than Ousmane Dembele. Whatever way you want to measure it. Individually, which is what this is, Mo is infinitely better than Ousmane Dembele. End of conversation. Cougs said, I'm sick of this Yamal PR hype. Second is a joke. Look, like I said at the start of the stream, I'm a huge fan of Lamine Yamal. I dare say most of us are. Who wouldn't be? Who could not love the game and be excited by the skill this kid has? And I'm sure when we sit here in 7 or 8 years' time, we're going to be talking about multiple deserved Ballon d'Ors for Lamine Yamal. But for him to even be in the top 5 is a piss take. And it's disrespectful. Because he didn't have a top 5 Ballon d'Or season, let alone second. I'm sorry. The award's a shit show. And I say that as somebody who has the fondness for Barca and is a super, super admirer of Lamine Yamal. Undeserving. And again, it's just spits in the face of those pros who are out there doing their thing, not getting that recognition and not getting that PR hype. But, you know, like I said, we know what we have in Mo. The good Kev said Salah won the Footy Rider player as well. Let me read you through, just for this gentleman here, just for this super chat. Do you want logic, bitch? I got your logic. You ready? I'll read you out some logic. So get a pen and paper, because you're going to need it. Mohamed Salah. You ready for this? The most goal involvements ever in a single Premier League season. Ever. The most goal involvements in a 38-game season. Ever. The most goal involvements in Europe top 5 leagues. The first player in Premier League history to score or assist in 10 plus consecutive games 3 times. The only player to be involved in 40 plus goals in 2 different Premier League seasons. The most goal involvements in a single calendar month, 14 goals and assists in 1 month. The first player to win the Player of the Season, Golden Boot and Playmaker award in the same season. The most goal involvements against the Big Six in a single Premier League season with 16 goals and assists. The first player to generate the most goals and X in a season since records began. The most league games with a goal and assist in a single season, 11 different games. A goal and an assist in 11 different games. The first Premier League player to score and assist in both games against the reigning champions. Premier League winner. Another title for Liverpool. And he was inspiring with dazzling moments. Player of the Season winner. Winning the award once again based on his consistency. Determined to be Player of the Season. Golden Boot winner. The winner once again with 29 goals. He now has 4 Golden Boots. Playmaker award winner. Football Writers Footballer of the Year winner. So, again, like I said, not just about goals and assists, based about everything. That's why Mohamed Salah is disrespected, being put down in 4th place in the Ballon d'Or. Absolute piss take. Right, let's go. So, again, like I've said, mate, I'm a huge fan of Lamine Yamal. Huge fan of him. The kid is awesome. Awesome. But he doesn't deserve to be there yet. Yet. He didn't do enough, man. He didn't. If Mo Salah was named Mo Salinho, he would played for Brazil. He would have 4 Ballon d'Ors by now. Utter woke nonsense, said Roddy. Leona Farrell said the Ballon d'Or is bullshit. Connor Ross, thank you, mate. Appreciate you. I don't know. Look, the hardest thing in all of this to cope with, you know, isn't Lamine Yamal finishing second. It's the idea that I'm supposed to be able to just square off that Ousmane Dembele was the greatest footballer on the planet. That just doesn't compute with me, to be honest with you. It just isn't. Paro said, I don't watch anymore. The credibility of it left when Modric beat Ronaldo in 2018. So, we asked you earlier on, and we're nearly at 3,000 votes. So, if you haven't voted yet, please do. We asked, should you or would you give Andy Robertson a new deal? I definitely would, for what it's worth. But we're about 150 votes away from 3,000, which will give us a huge sample size. So, would you give Andy Robertson a new deal if you were Arne Slot, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards and FSG? Somehow Dembele, Vitinha and an 18-year-old beat Mo Salah, who is still breaking records at the age of 33, said Grim Reaper. So, like, again, in a weird way, it's a tough conversation because I can understand wholeheartedly how people would say that maybe Salah didn't do enough to win a Ballon d'Or this year. You know, I've had this conversation on streams where I said, I think the fact that he went out in the first knockout round of the Champions League will probably be what stops him. But when you see the top four and you look at it and you go, how? How? Like, as a football fan, I'm supposed to believe that all of those players had a better year than Mohamed Salah. One of them, maybe. All three of them? Nah, fuck right off. I'm not having that. Dennis said, excuse my ignorance, Craig, but who votes on the Ballon d'Or? So, I think it's national team coaches, national team captains, esteemed football journalists from each country, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think it's the FIFA delegates from each country around the world as well. Now, I could be a little bit wrong on that. Don't get me wrong. I've certainly never studied it inside out, but I think that's roughly who gets the votes. Harry said, hey Craig, I know it's not about football, but did you see that Christian Horner got a 52 million severance package? I'd love to get that severance package. Also, sorry about spelling, had a jug of Long Island iced tea. Dude, you never have to apologise for treating yourself to a little tipple, Harry. Enjoy it. I didn't see the amount that Christian Horner was getting, but I did see that his exit agreement with Red Bull allowed him to come back into Formula One next year if he wanted to. But look, the amounts of money in that sport are crazy. Like, there's so much wealth in Formula One. And yeah, look, it's hard to think of any people involved in sport being worth some of the sums of money that some of them are. But look, I don't begrudge any of them a penny, to be fair. Like, you get paid what you can get paid, and if I was in his shoes, I'd be trying to get the most money I could as well. Just really just reaffirms, Harry, it's a two-tier world, isn't it? Simsy said, I personally think they just pick a name out of a hat with the state of this shit show. Keith Dunn said 52 million he got. I know, it's not too shabby, is it? Not too shabby. 52 mil. God, if I make £1 million over the course of my lifetime, I'd be happy. Lee Sadler said the people who picked the winner have no clue. Right, we only need 10 more votes to get to 3,000 now. And we're asking, would you give Andy Robertson a new deal? And don't forget, folks, to make sure you join us for the watch along tomorrow and keep an eye on the Anfield Agenda socials, because we're going to be launching a competition with, do you know what? I'm going to tell you who the competition is with, but I won't give you the full details of it just yet. So we're going to be launching a competition with our friends at the Collector's Corner. So make sure that you join us tomorrow, because we're going to be starting a competition to give away a signed, framed Diogo Jota Liverpool shirt to one lucky person. And the details of the giveaway we will give you from tomorrow. So make sure you keep an eye on the socials, but we'll be launching the giveaway here on the watch along of the Southampton game. The competition is going to run until the Chelsea game, which is the last game before the international break, and it will be open to everybody. So just keep an eye on our socials. If you're in our WhatsApp as well, you will get information in there on exactly how you can join the competition. Mark, thank you, mate, for gifting a membership as always, bro. Lovely to see you in, sir, and I hope that you are well. We all miss you dearly. Thank you, Mark. Right, we've now gone over 3,000 votes. Would you give Robbo a new deal? 89% of the 3,000 plus people that voted said yes, they would give Andy Robertson a new deal, and I would certainly be in. I would certainly be in that 89%. Eddie Hughes said, Yamal being second shows the corruption in that joke of a competition. Clearly just want to start pushing him to be the poster boy of football for the foreseeable future. So, do you know why Ousmane Dembele shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or? One reason and one reason alone. He showed up to the ceremony indoors in sunglasses. That alone, they should have taken the award off him, ripped up the envelope and thrown it in the bin. He's not Bono. Do you know what I mean? You're inside, dude. Take off the sunglasses. That's enough for me. Take the Ballon d'Or off him. Rodri is looking like the greatest Ballon d'Or winner of all time compared to Dembele, said Billy Beckner. I actually think Rodri was a deserving Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah, really do. You know, I can understand Vini Jr. fans maybe being upset, but for me, I thought Rodri was a deserving winner. Who would my pick have been this year? Honestly, actually, I haven't given it that much thought. My pick probably would have been Salah, but I'm biased, mate. And I'll admit to you, I'm biased on it. It is one of those where I don't think there's a cut and dry winner. You know, well, there's been a couple of those in recent history. Some years you look at it and you just know who's going to win it. Like, but I would push Salah, but I'm biased, like I said. Did Salah win 3 Player of the Year awards, making him the first to do so? I listed off all of his accomplishments for this season, and it's just ridiculous when you read back through everything that he's achieved. Like, Keane said, Salah was the best player in the world last season by far, but doesn't fit the PR requirements. Sharkovic said, nah, mate, I completely disagree, but it's your opinion, I respect it. And as do I yours, mate. You know, it is just opinions, and we're being respectful to each other here, and I'm not, you know, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I just think about it this way, Sharkovic, right? Why did he deserve it, right? And you're going to say because he won stuff, which is fair enough. He did win stuff, but it's an individual award, right? So then you're talking about, well, what makes up the individual award? Goals and assists for a forward, particularly, is important, right? And Salah beat him in that. More goals and assists. Salah smashed records in a better league. So the reason I'm struggling with it so much, Sharkovic, is do I think for 1 second that man was the best footballer on the planet over the last 12 months? I can't get the grips with that. I just can't, mate. I can't. There's just no way in my mind. I think back through some of the players who haven't had a Ballon d'Or. Like, are you telling me that he's a better footballer than Steven Gerrard, as an example, who has no Ballon d'Or? No. And I the title of the best footballer on the planet for the year, I just struggle to think of that as Dembele. I just do. Like, team-wise, what PSG accomplished was phenomenal. But it's supposed to be an individual award. And it's not like he carried them on his own to a Champions League or to the French League title or the League Cup or the Super Cup in France. I don't know. So, just Henry, you're telling me to get over it, but you're missing one important thing. I'm responding to people talking about it in the chat. It's not like I just came in here tonight and decided off the cuff to just talk about Salah forever. You know, I'm talking about it because it's a topical subject that we won't be talking about from tomorrow onwards. So, respectfully, if you want to hear me talk about the game tomorrow, watch the preview. It's there for you to have a look at, and I hope you enjoy it. But for now, we're talking about a topical subject on the night of the Ballon d'Or ceremony, and I think that's fair enough. Uh, Thomas said Dembele deserved a top-notch beat us in the Champions League as well. Look, like I said, you have that opinion, Thomas. I respect your opinion on it, mate. They beat us on penalties in the Champions League, if you want to be, really fussy about it. But it's not about them. It's not about Paris Saint-Germain. That's the thing. If it was about team competitions, no problem. Paris Saint-Germain beat us the best team in Europe last year by a long way. Thoroughly deserving winners of the Champions League. But it's not about teams. They won Team of the Year. The coach got Coach of the Year. So their goalkeeper, I think, deservedly got Keeper of the Year. I just don't think Dembele is the best footballer in the year. Or, excuse me, in the world. But look, I respect people who view otherwise. What I don't respect is the idiots that voted. Connor said, give it a few years, Nicholas Jackson be better than Salah. Will he? At what? Does he have a second hobby that isn't football, Connor, that maybe we don't know about? But I tell you, even at that, I'd back Salah, especially if it was chess or something. Yeah. You tried though, Connor. Well done. You gave it a go to bait me, bro. It's just you picked the wrong day to try to bait me, unfortunately. But cheers for the 250. Much appreciated. The real Johnny Sin said, by the way, Craig, Yamal has 9 league goals. Yes, 9. And I'm supposed to believe he's better than Salah. I know. And it isn't like any of us are Yamal haters. I think all of us here would be Yamal fans. I certainly am. I love the kid. I think he's an amazing footballer. And like I said, when he finishes his career, I fully accept him to sit there and have 3-4 Ballon d'Ors that he absolutely deserves. The kid's a super talent. But not last year. Not second. That's just stupid. Student Revolution said 6th trophy winner Franck Ribéry was robbed in 2013. Then if trophies matter, he'd won everything, 6 trophies, and still missed out on the Ballon d'Or to a trophyless Ronaldo. Like I said, the competition to many people is losing credibility, but it is what it is. Lee Sadler said you got more chance of Everton winning the Premier League. Actually, while we're talking about Everton, let's get back to David Moyes for a minute and his little wah. Like, somebody needs to give... This is why I have no respect for a lot of journalists. Some journalists I do, some journalists I don't. But when David Moyes is sitting there in his press conference at Anfield after being beaten again, and he starts crying about 3 minutes, surely to fuck, somebody could have stood up, grown a pair, and said, hey, David, you know the extra injury time you were looking for? What may have happened, David, if there was another minute? Considering, as our manager pointed out, we had a 5v2 on a counter-attack that at the very least was going to end up in a strike on goal, probably was going to end up with another goal. But yeah, once again, a manager sits up there at the top table talking shit and nobody has the backbone to call him on it. Why are you in the job? Honestly, it takes our manager to come out with it. Why is nobody there going, Moisey, you're talking shit? I would, you would, but, we're not serious people. Arna said, I would have loved to play for 3 or 4 seconds more because we were in a 5v2 situation. The 3 minutes were completely correct, by the way, because there were only 3 moments where a sub was made. And he's spot on. And go back and watch the second half as well. There was very little stoppages. One of the stoppages came with the free kick right at the end. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the ref played 4 minutes. I haven't got the exact number to hand, but I'm almost certain he played extra time anyway. So what is he moaning about? And this Keenan Dewsbury Hall free kick nonsense as well. So what? He got a yellow card. Did he deserve one? No, he didn't. Would it change the game? No, not for a second. So what are they crying about? Why can't Moyes just show a bit of decency and go, I thought we put in a good shift. I thought we responded really well to going behind. I thought we played ourselves back into the game, and we're unlucky to be leaving here with nothing. And I don't think many of us would have said anything. But no, as always, has to be hard done by. Have to try to pacify the Everton fan base with more bollocks. And that's all it is. It's nonsense. So, this is why I lose my rag with journalists a lot of the time. You all sit there saying nothing when these lads are taking the piss, sitting up there, spouting him, Guardiola, Arteta, spouting nonsense after nonsense after nonsense, and nobody calls them on it. Nobody deserved the award this year, in my opinion, said David. Well, it's certainly a harder one to pick a clear favourite, David, I would say. Chris said, you're on fire, Craig, and you're not wrong. I'm not. It's absolute madness. Like, he's moaning about something that it could have got him a worse result. And, like, I agree with everybody that Keenan Dewsbury Hall should not have had a yellow card. Of course he shouldn't. That was ridiculous. But it didn't change anything. It's not like that stopped them in a scoring position. It stopped them, Grealish coming short to play a 1-2 from a free kick with him. Wouldn't have changed anything. And the extra time he's on about, again, wouldn't have changed anything other than maybe we scored another one. Daniel said, Salah 4th, Cole Palmer the same page in, I think he was 8th. Not sure which is harder to process. I'm going down to the game tomorrow. Looking forward to watching the newbies. As you should, mate. As you should. It's going to be a very exciting game. And I can't wait. And in case you haven't seen it, James Pearce has posted out that he believes Liverpool's starting lineup will be, up top I should say, Federico Chiesa, Alexander Isak and Rio Engamoa, which I'm very much looking forward to. Harry said, I don't know if I'm mental, but I honestly believe that the two most pressurised jobs in English football by far, when you look at the media and such, are Man United and Liverpool. I agree. Definitely agree. Arteta gets way too many passes in the media for his failures and too much praise. Gary Neville seems to really love Arsenal for some reason. Really loves them. And can you imagine if the Manchester United manager or the Liverpool manager had gone that long at the top end of a league without winning one or without winning a Champions League and spent that money? There's no way they'd still be in a job. And there's no way the media would still be calling them top manager with, you know, a great squad that, you know, is an upstart that should do well. Nah, he's a pussy who plays not to lose. Again, like he did when we went to their gaff and Martinelli was running to the corner flag with 20 minutes to go when they're beating us 2-1 and we drew. He's trying to not lose a league title, not win it. So, yeah. It's I definitely agree that there should be way more scrutiny on certain managers. Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to go record a late night news update where we're going to be talking about centre-backs. We're going to be talking about some links to Liverpool Football Club and a few other bits and pieces. Hope you get a chance to watch it. If you do, thank you. Tomorrow, we will be live from 6:45 for the watch-along of the Southampton game. Cannot wait for it. We'll have a match reaction, a player ratings video, and everything else we always have on a match day. If I can ask you one little favour before you head out the door, we are only 57 likes away from 1,000 likes. So if you could hit that like button for me, would be hugely appreciated. And thank you all so much for coming in. Really enjoyed chatting with you tonight. Appreciate you as always. Apologies again about last night, but you know, internet let me down, so couldn't come on. But we will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening to all of you.